Real estate gave me freedom, sober living gave me purpose, and together they changed everything. In this video, I'm breaking down the top 10 beliefs that allowed me to be successful in life and in business. And if you're trying to create something bigger than yourself, these might just help you too. I'm Andrew Lamb, and I teach investors and entrepreneurs how to build profitable, purpose-driven businesses, especially through sober living homes. These are the top 10 beliefs I live by and how they've shaped a business that's helping hundreds of people. Now, I firmly believe that the words in the Bible are true, and Proverbs 23:7 says, "As a man thinks in his heart, so is he." And these aren't words that I've just put together. These aren't things that I simply think I believe. These are actually distilled from everything that's on my YouTube channel right now and all the teachings that I've put out into the world so far. And I ran it through AI and had it tell me, hey, based on my content, what are the top 10 beliefs I had? So this isn't me trying to, virtue signal what's real and all that stuff and sound good. This is what's actually come out of the overflow of my heart while I've been teaching this stuff for the last 3 years. So I wanted to share that with you today. And I truly believe that if you embrace these beliefs yourself, your mindset is everything. It's like 90+% of what contributes to success. Then you'll also see similar patterns emerge in your life and you will be successful as well. Success leaves clues. So belief number 1 is that real estate is a powerful vehicle for financial freedom. So I don't really care where you're starting. I think everyone knows because it's kind of a thing that's in the air. It's something people have been saying for at least 100 years, it feels like. You get wealth, like you can build wealth through real estate. So real estate done right gives you leverage. It gives you the ability to not have to go and spend, $100,000 to get $100,000 worth of value. We have a system that allows you to really leverage and get financing on the majority of what you're purchasing. So you can put a small amount in. It doesn't even have to be your own money. You can leverage other people's money to be able to put a small amount in, a down payment essentially, and acquire something that is worth way more than what you put in. I mean, as little as 3% down on a conventional loan, and you can have a $500,000 asset. And over time, other people pay that mortgage down, right? There's principal pay down, there's the tax benefits, there's depreciation, there's all these things that are kind of all rolled into one. And so it allows you to build wealth really fast. And you can't do that with something else like stocks. You can't do that with a lot of other types of real estate. And I think what's really cool is real estate typically can't go to zero either, like a stock can. So you can buy a $500,000 home, or if you're in Ohio, a $100,000 home. Even if it burns down, the land is still worth something. There's inherent value just in the dirt. So it's very rare for any kind of real estate purchase to literally just like disappear in terms of value because there's inherent value in the land, in the building. You even see, homes that have been burned in fires sold for something like 50% of market value. Like there's got to be some meat on the bone for an investor to go in there and fix it up and make it a nice home again to get it to fair market value. But what other asset class has that, where you can go in and have pretty good protections? Like there's insurance as well. Like there's no stock insurance. Like the stock market goes to zero, you're dead in the water. But there's insurance for real estate. So it's just such a cool asset class to be able to build wealth, and you can scale it really fast. Now, the way to do that is by controlling the real estate, and I think holding it long term. I used to flip. I used to be the middleman, a real estate agent that would kind of handle the transaction and project manage the transfer of real estate from one person to another and collect a small fee in the middle. That doesn't really build you wealth. What builds you wealth is taking that type of active income and then parking it in assets that can produce passive income like real estate. I simply didn't want to have all of my passive holdings send me $100 checks every single month. I needed a lot more than that, especially as things happen inside of my family and I needed to provide for them. Like there's a great book called Wealth Can't Wait by David Osborne that talks about all the surprises that you might get in life and why building wealth is not something you should put off and just like parking money in a 401k and waiting till you're 65 or 70, because that doesn't work. Wealth can't wait. What happens when the unexpected health issue comes up? What happens when somebody else in your family needs some additional help? Like what happens if you're a 2-income household and all of a sudden one of those incomes drops to zero, or now it's like 30% and somebody's on disability? We can't anticipate these things. So the faster you can wrap your head around building wealth, the faster and better you're actually going to be able to take care of yourself, but also the people that you love and those around you. Now, belief number 2 is really what I transitioned to after realizing that selling homes wasn't the way, flipping homes wasn't even the way. It was just a better version of selling homes. Like when I went in and thinking like buyer first instead of a listing agent, I was able to acquire acquire properties that did great. The problem was I wasn't maximizing the impact I could make, number one, or the cash flow that I could get from that property. And to marry the two is how you skyrocket your ability to build wealth and make an impact in the world, right? It's like the secret sauce to building legacy. And so belief number two is that sober living homes create both profit and purpose. So most investors chase ROI. I specifically want ROI and impact. I want everything I do in life to be fully aligned in serving people and producing sustainable cash flow so that we can continue to serve people. One of the things I used to see a lot was missionaries who would go off to places like Kenya, Uganda, the Philippines, and they'd have to continue to come back and get donations and speak at local churches within the United States, meaning they're not doing the work that they have set to do, like the purpose on their lives to go and reach a certain set of people. They have to stop doing that and come back and raise money and get donations and all of that stuff. And I hated that. And so I always wanted to, through business, find a way to teach missionaries to build sustainable businesses that can keep money flowing in so they don't have to take time away from helping people. Because every second you spend not helping the people who need the help, they're not getting what they need. And then if you're constantly reliant on a funding source elsewhere, if something happens with that funding source, you're dead in the water, the mission's done, like you have to come back and stop serving. And now you're just like working a regular job, not doing the thing that like you were built to do. The reason that you even went out there to the mission field was because there was this calling to go and do it. And if it weren't for just this need for money that was outside of you, it was external, you didn't have control over it, then you could continue doing that. So I'm all about sustainability. And I really wanted whatever we did to be able to pay for itself. And the shocking thing that I learned when I learned about sober living was that it does that. I never went into it thinking it was going to make as much as it has made me, but it's been very cool to see just this alignment when you do decide to help people and you decide to make a dent in the universe. It's crazy how like just the alignment of people who want to get on that mission with you, the doors that open up when you truly have a desire to help people, and that's first and foremost. And then all of the resources started coming in so that I didn't just have one home, right? In 2021, when I started this, we finished with 5. Now we have 15. We're continuing to grow. And just the amount of people who like, they'll watch 10 minutes of a video and then find my cell phone number. They will hunt me down and call me and leave a voicemail. Typically I'm on a call with somebody already. We're building more homes. And they're like, I just watched 10 minutes, 15 minutes. I need to talk with you. I have to do this. I didn't know this was possible. And so that's why we teach everything we teach today, because I honestly I get so many calls, text messages asking, how do you do this? And just sharing my story and how we've been able to do it. But man, just to live in that purpose and to know that you're making a difference with what you're doing. And instead of, as a flipper, making homes less affordable for people who really needed them, now we're able to, in those same neighborhoods in many cases, provide a super affordable option for people and help them kind of have that first stepping stone into rebuilding and working towards their own permanent housing. And then maybe one day they'll also live in a home that I flipped previously. And so that's like a really cool virtuous cycle that I think exists when you do sober living. These homes actually generate really great revenue, but more importantly, they restore dignity, because the way we do it, we go in and we fix up the ugliest house on the block. We make it beautiful. We contribute to like the beauty of the neighborhood. We raise property values because we're taking that dilapidated home that nobody wanted to get, no one else could get financing on, and we're making it gorgeous, but then we're making it a space that's affordable. And that's what's missing today in our real estate market. It's why with interest rates where they are, a lot of builders cannot offer something that's affordable to people who are coming out of, reentry situations, coming out of jail, coming out of prison, coming out of treatment programs, or simply couch surfing or living in their cars. People like seniors on fixed incomes. We house a lot of them now because they can't go out and afford $2,000 a month plus a $2,000 deposit on a fixed income. And so we give them that landing pad to be able to make small steps. And then we also help them get income-based housing because, with the seniors, that's not going to change. And many of them did not build up the 401k, or, just depending on where we're at in the cycle with the stock market, maybe it's down, that's when they retired, their whole plan's out the window. And so we're that place that can give them a safe space and help them not only rebuild, but kind of move on and have a secure space while they're trying to figure things out. Now, belief number 3, systems and processes are essential for success. Running a sober living home without systems is like trying to fly a plane blindfolded. You have no idea where you're going. In many cases, I think people start trying to build a sober living home and it's like trying to assemble a plane while you're trying to take off and get off the ground. There's just no forethought. There's no having conversations with people in the marketplace to understand what the needs are before they actually start trying to get people housed. There's no way to actually set proper expectations, to check on things. It's constantly taking all of their time and energy, mostly because they're just anxious. They're trying to figure out, like, are people doing what they're supposed to be doing? So they're there all the time. And that's really hard to do if you have another job and this is like something you're trying to start from scratch and you don't have funds, and everything already. And what we discovered, because we did a lot of that early on, like we found out about the need for these types of homes, and without anyone really telling us the ins and outs, we did a lot of trial by fire, right? We learned by making mistakes and learning from those mistakes and then getting better and better and iterating. But because I had a business background, owning a franchise, running a real estate team, running a flipping and like an investment business that had processes, and so it was very proven and repeatable. We knew what we were doing on every single house that we purchased. We knew the paint color, we knew the fixtures and finishes. We knew all that stuff ahead of time. So it didn't take time. I didn't need to go to Home Depot every single time to figure out new things because we had it down. We knew exactly what we were doing. We treated our sober living business the same exact way. And so each home itself is just a home, but overall in aggregate, right, you have an organization that needs to run like a business. Any nonprofit and any for-profit business needs systems and processes to make sure that everyone knows what their role is. If you're hiring people, they need to know what winning looks like in the role. They need to know what losing looks like in the role. And so just making super clear expectations for everybody, the people in the home, the people that we bring on to help us in the home. So it just needs to be super clear. So you need intake systems, you need payment processing systems, you need chore charts, you need how to handle maintenance requests, right? We need to make sure that the rules are enforced. And what we ended up doing was also security systems and cameras and making sure that no matter what, we could see and hear what's going on. And so our homes run like clockwork because they're designed like well-run businesses. They're designed to run super smoothly, clear expectations, and honestly setting those expectations up front, just like I used to with buyers and sellers when I would meet them in their home to figure out like if we were a fit to work together. Same exact thing when talking to somebody about moving into your sober living home, making sure you're each a fit for each other. It's a choice on their part, just like it is on your part to allow them to move in. And as long as we have a meeting of the minds and we both agree, like, hey, this is a good fit, then we're good to go. That usually solves 99% of problems on the back end. The hard part is a lot of people don't treat sober living like that. And so you have some homes with horrible reputations. And on the flip side, we have homes with amazing reputations because we do the work on the front end to make sure that it continues to run smoothly on the back end when somebody is in the home. Belief number 4, people over profit. I've said this from the very beginning. It's why there's a logo with a heart of gold inside of a home. If you don't do this for the right reasons, number one, you're not going to have a good reputation. People are going to see right through whatever you're trying to do and not send people to your home. People will not want to stay there. There's going to be heavy turnover. And honestly, you'll just get basically blackballed by the other organizations in the industry who would refer people there if it was a solid, good home. And so if your only goal is money, you're going to burn out, not just because people aren't coming to the home, but because your heart's not in it. And when things do get hard or you have to have a tough conversation, you're just going to give up and be like, man, this is not worth it. But when you have the right context and you treat people like people and you have, sit down conversations and you hear them out and you earn their trust, it's amazing the gratitude that they give, how well the homes run, how well people take care of them because they know you care about them. And so they're going to take care of your home and they're going to make sure that they do right by you. It's a completely different paradigm than just trying to do this for money, just for money's sake. Honestly, money is just a tool. It should be used to amplify the things that you want to do in the world. So we like to have margin and do more and give back and fund future homes with the money that we make. We don't want to just gather it and keep it and store it because I can't take it with me when I'm gone, so why do that? But there are some people out there who might think that sober living is just about the money and they don't care about people and it's just going to be a revolving door. I think that is the absolute worst thing you can do for the industry, for people in general, and for your own soul. If you don't care about people, there's no reason to get into sober living. Belief number 5, creative investment strategies unlock hidden value. So I've taken single family homes and turned them into high cash flow assets, legally, ethically, and strategically. It's not about skyscrapers and syndications. We don't take outside money in that sense. It's about doing more with what you already have. And so when I first started thinking about, man, I really just want to get some mailbox money. I want to, build a portfolio of real estate so that I could take care of my family one day. If I ever can't work, right? My goal was $20,000 a month in passive income. I knew people making that, so it was a reasonable goal. The problem was, even if I wanted to make slightly higher than traditional cash flow, which is about $150, $200 per rental. So anyone who says get rich by gathering rentals, it usually doesn't happen until the mortgage is paid off because all you're making from the very beginning is usually just a couple $100 a month per house. So I would have needed, at $300 per home, 67 rental properties. Not only did that feel like something I couldn't achieve, it felt like a lot of headache, a lot of management, a lot of stress. And I just, it was hard to figure out even where to start with that many homes. And so the cool thing is that by kind of just by stumbling upon sober living, I was able to run into a model that not only, again, helps make a home for people who truly need it, that actually serves the human and their spirit and helps them all the way around, fully as a person, not just housing, but it's so much more than just housing, the dignity that we give people, the support, the ability to have a shoulder to lean on, seeing people reunify with their kids. You literally help them rebuild their life. It's not just a roof over their head. But aside from that, we've also been able to skyrocket the revenue because you're getting paid per bed, not per house. And so I remember going to the Section 8 office thinking maybe that's something I would do. And they were actually going to pay below fair market value. And it just didn't make sense, right? At the time, that first home would have been, fair market rent was $2,800 and Section 8 was only going to pay about $2,400. And to me, it was okay, well, that doesn't make sense. I know there's parts of the country where it's reversed, and you can actually make really good money in places like Ohio. There's a lot of people buying there specifically to do Section 8. But for me, that didn't make sense. And I wanted to help more than just one family or one person. And so when I called up a local shelter and asked them what they needed, and they said sober living, what I found through several conversations with that person who ran our entire continuum of care and said, this is what we need, and then confirmed with our city that, yeah, we actually do need this. What we found was I actually didn't need 67 houses anymore. That first 5 homes I started in 2021, by the end of that year, was producing exactly what I set out to do. And I no longer needed 67. I could do it with just 5. So that means less management headache, less maintenance headache, right? I don't have to expand and grow and grow and grow just for growth's sake. Now I can focus on what I have already and just be able to maximize the use of the real estate to help as many people as possible. And I personally believe that the more value you provide, the more value you get in return. And so if you can help more people, just think about multifamily versus a single family home. The reason why a lot of people get really rich through multifamily real estate is because you can have an apartment building with 200 units. Now you're getting paid 200 times. You're providing a ton more value. Plus it's commercial. You're going to get higher valuations based on the net income that you make, increasing cap rates, things like that. But basically, if you're helping more people, you're going to get more in return. So we took the single family home and essentially made it like a small apartment building from a revenue generation standpoint, but there's still a heart and soul and the ability to connect to each individual. I know all of their stories. If they're in my homes, I know exactly where they came from, what they're trying to do, if they're reunifying or not. We have single moms, single dads inside of our homes. We love helping them. And we also get to make incredible high income and cash flow because of it. If this is hitting home so far, hit that subscribe button. I drop videos on how to build housing that matters and that makes a difference in the community. If that's something that you want to do, hit subscribe so you can catch all the content that we put out. Belief number 6, community and network are critical. I would never launch a sober living home knowing what I know today without first looking at the marketplace and seeing and connecting with all the local treatment programs, county programs, all the people in the area who are already in that space, either providing case management or doing treatment, so that I know what the need is and where to fill in the need when necessary. The truth is, homes like this are needed all across the country, in metropolitan areas, in rural areas. I used to think that you really had to be in like a bigger area with 50,000 plus people, but this has worked for our students even in areas that are less than 12,000 people because the need is so big, and areas like that are lacking in resources, so you can be that resource in those areas. But mostly what I learned from running a real estate team was that, and leadership and hiring, firing, all that stuff, it can feel very lonely, and isolation stops progress. And so if you really want to go fast, go together, find a tribe of people that you can go with, find people that can mentor you, find coaches, find, peers, and you will move much faster. And so the same thing works when you're starting a sober living home, not just having the tools and resources to be able to help your own home, but having the connections to let people know what you're doing so they can partner with you, but also let them know that you have housing and you are a resource so they can make use of it. I've talked to so many people who have tried to do this on their own, and they call us and they're 2 or 3 months in and they're like, I'm facing foreclosure. I haven't been able to pay the mortgage on time. I only have 1 person in the home out of 10 beds, all kinds of crazy stories. And time again, they come in and within about 90 days, they're able to completely turn it around and then look for additional housing because now they have a wait list, right? They're full, they have a wait list, and now they can serve more people. And it's because they didn't start with that, community and network building first. That is the first thing we teach. We even provide a list locally of like who you should reach out to, and starting with the top down, CEOs, executive directors, instead of just calling like main phone numbers and getting stuck. And so that's the way you should absolutely start doing this type of process. And whether it's residents in your home or like operators inside of a mastermind group, community multiplies your growth. Belief number 7, leadership and team building drives sustainable growth. And you cannot do this alone. I remember after my 3rd home started, I was still a busy real estate agent and one of the case managers, because we started getting a lot of referrals because we proved that we have beautiful homes. We do what we say we're going to do. We're actually going to, watch out for people. We will not allow anyone to use drugs inside of the home. And once they saw that we actually kept our promises, they started sending us more and more referrals, and we started getting the bulk of the local referrals in our area. And a case manager called me and said, Andrew, you need help. And she actually recommended somebody who could help and fill in as a part-time house manager. And that was my journey of really starting to build out a team in running our sober living homes. So today we have, I think 20 employees all across the state of California, because we have 15 homes in multiple locations. But we continue to add people because we want our folks to have, a contact source, because we want our folks to have somebody to reach out to if they ever need anything. And we're doing more wraparound services these days. But building a team takes so much weight off of your shoulders. I've been able to kind of now be that 4th, 5th level. Like if anything gets to me, it means something's really wrong, because we have such a great team that's handling things on the ground. And so when you have boots on the ground, when you have people who you can delegate to, people who have more experience than you, like the first people I brought in had substance use counseling experience and hundreds of hours of supervised time doing clinical training. And although we're not doing treatment inside of the home, it's amazing the value that brings when you're dealing with people in recovery and how they can do motivational interviewing and just asking the right questions, making sure they're doing the right things so that we prevent a relapse instead of having to deal with the after effects of not bringing the support that they needed at the right time. And so when you get to bring these people in who can honestly do things better than you, that's how you build a sustainable organization that whether you're on vacation or sick, like things still run, intakes can still happen, because you literally cannot be in 2 places at once, but you can figuratively do so when you have other people who can help out, right? You can have 3 intakes happening at once at 3 different locations when you have the right people in place to be able to handle that. And so today, when I start a home, the first thing we actually do a job posting, and we look for house managers and people with experience before we ever bring anyone inside of the home, to make sure that there's boots on the ground, but there's also people with local connections. The guy I hired most recently in our home in San Jose, he's on 2 boards related to housing. Like he's on 2 reentry boards. He's talking to the public defender's office. He's serving, like volunteering inside of San Quentin every week. Like his ability to fill the house has been amazing, because he's already got those connections. And simply by, interviewing a few people, it does take time and energy to do that. But I didn't have to look long before I found him, and I knew that's our guy. So we had several conversations, because our interview process is a little bit longer. So we want to make sure they're the right fit. We even give people a test to make sure that they have integrity. There's literally something called an integrity test, and it tells you if somebody's trying to just like give you false answers to look like they have integrity, but it's like not in alignment and they didn't answer consistently. And so we make sure that everyone we hire is background checked and that they pass these types of assessments. But it's been incredible to watch what's been able to happen when I wasn't personally involved in every single aspect. Like we've been able to grow so much faster and do so much more. And it doesn't really cost a lot, right? Like when you're just starting up, you don't need a full-time person, like the home's empty. But if you hire the right person part-time, it's going to be full very quickly, because they have the right relationships. They're going to be able to get those referrals, earn trust for people. And even the people who move in start to refer other folks from the places they were previously at. It becomes this beautiful thing where you build a real community inside of the home, instead of just what I think a lot of sober living homes have done in previous decades, just shoving people into houses and not really caring what's going on. That's not everybody, but the reason why people think sober living has, people who damage the home and people always relapsing is because it's run by somebody who either doesn't have business knowledge and skill and doesn't have the right processes in place, or simply like their heart's not in it. So we hire people whose hearts are in it. That's how you build a team that's sustainable with amazing culture and things happen the way you expect them to happen. Belief number 8, education and personal development are ongoing priorities. In order to actually succeed in life, you have to constantly be seeking to learn, like staying curious, learning from others, joining other masterminds, joining other groups, attending meetings, and learning from the other organizations that are kind of your peers in the space. I invest tens of thousands of dollars every single year on masterminds, on groups to learn how to not only run my business more effectively, but learn how to lead more effectively, learn how to include my team members in these masterminds so they can learn and they can think the way I think. So just like I'm telling you my beliefs so that you can inherit them and operate the same way, I do the same thing with my team. Gary Keller, who started Keller Williams, which is a franchise I'm an owner in. And one of the things he says is a leader's job is to teach other people how to think. And so I am including my team members in a lot of these masterminds, and we're, even if it involves travel, we're covering their hotel, we're covering, things for them to make sure that they're learning just as much as I'm learning, because this organization is only as good as the leaders in the organization and our ability to level up ourselves and then reproduce leaders underneath us. And so whether it's books, whether it's Audible, I have like the highest level of Audible. I try to read 3 to 4 books a month, and these could be personal development, leadership, business building. I just want to develop my skills in all areas. Leadership for sure being the hardest, because leading people is the hardest thing you'll ever do, but it is the most rewarding when you see them really start to take off and kind of, grow their own wings and do amazing things simply because you put them in a great position, you showed them how to win, you gave them space to grow, and then it's awesome to see things take place and to see the ripple effect of what you've been able to start and put in place. And I'm a firm believer in be, do, have. It truly starts with who you become, allows you to do the thing that, the person within you needs to do to have the things you want to have. So any end result you can think of, you can literally work it backwards to, okay, if I want to have that end result, what would that person do, like your future self? And who does that person need to be in order to do those things consistently? We're talking about thought patterns, habits. And so be, do, have is an amazing model that is true. It's absolutely real. And if you want to be a better leader, be a better husband, wife, brother, sister, son, whatever, it starts with developing yourself first. Who you become determines what you build. Belief number 9, integrity and accountability are non-negotiable. These aren't just words. They're contracts, SOPs, house rules, license agreements. When you work with vulnerable populations, you have to protect yourself and serve people with honor. So we put all of our agreements in writing. There's nothing like that just purely verbal. We are protecting ourselves. We have everything run by an attorney and make sure that it's legal as well, so it'll stand up in court. But we want to make sure expectations are extremely clear. And so we want to have integrity just like we want the people inside of our homes to have integrity. We sign on a dotted line to say what your expectations are, what our expectations are. That's going to ensure that everyone's on the same page. And it's going to allow you to actually hold someone accountable. If you have a house with no house rules, when somebody does something that you don't agree with, if you never set the standard, if you never actually express to them that that's not okay, how could you possibly hold them accountable to it? It's not a standard if you can't hold someone accountable to it. It's just like a nice saying. It's a philosophy. But unless you're consistent in how that's handled, it's not truly a standard. So in order to have standards, you have to have everything in writing and truly be able to have integrity, right? Do what you say you're going to do, and then have accountability. If you don't do it, there needs to be a system of checks and balances and consequences for when you or the people inside of your homes don't do what's supposed to be done, right? When you don't do what's expected. And belief number 10. Family and work-life balance matter, but I like to call it work-life integration. For example, when we first set up our homes and allowed for single parents, I allowed my kids to donate. My wife and I wanted our kids to be a part of this process. We wanted them to see what it is that we're doing because we want them to have the same desire to serve people that we have. And so they donated books and sheets and, things that they thought, toys that they thought the kids inside of our homes would love to have. And it's been just amazing to see the way our kids even think about and ask about, hey, what's going on in our homes? They played with kids that are inside of our homes. And it's just so cool to see, again, the integration. It's not work-life balance. It's not like I need to be fully in sober living when I'm doing that and my family's not involved. It's not like I'm just fully at home all the time and then not thinking about work, because that certainly doesn't happen. I think about, work stuff all the time. But I do believe in this integration of allowing my kids to come into my real estate office, allowing my kids to come on, my kids have seen me at open houses and they've helped put signs out. Like, we are doing this together. It's a purpose. It's a ministry. It's not just work. And so doing both matters. But I also believe that in order to, you're taking care of a lot of people, and a lot of times their trauma and their life can feel really heavy if you're somebody who's a bit more like an empath and can feel that and takes that on. And so having some time away and being able to care for yourself really, really helps. So if you can have a vacation, like that's why you build these systems and have a team in place. So you can go on vacation, you can rest and recharge, and you can come back fully prepared to like hit it hard again and continue to run an amazing organization that puts people first. Again, if you burn out and you feel like, man, I can't handle this anymore, that means you have to stop doing the work that you're doing to serve the community. That means you're not going to feel lit up inside the way you should. So you got to take time away to recharge. And that's why I believe, again, this integration, like it lights me up to see my kids want to do things like this, to see my kids want to get into real estate, to see my kids want to give money and be generous and donate toys and books and whatnot. And I can't think of another way to run our organizations and the multiple businesses we have today that are all focused around making an impact in people's lives. That being said, I have 5 daughters. If your business runs you, you're not doing it right. If you are constantly there because you're worried about whatever's going on and you're not present at home, that is a problem. That's why we installed cameras. I didn't need to go to every home all the time, every day in the middle of the day because no one was there, right? I was just worried about, well, what's going on? I can't tell. And so all this stuff is playing on in my head. And then I show up and literally everyone's at work or at school or they're doing their programming at outpatient. It made no sense. And so just by installing these systems allows you to be present and do what you need to do and be where you need to be and still have everything run smoothly. If you are aligned with these beliefs, you belong in this community. So leave a comment below. Let me know which of these beliefs hits home for you the most or the one that you're still working on. And if you're ready to go deeper and this is absolutely something you want to do, you can actually book a call with my team, talk through your specific scenario, whether you have a home or not. We can talk through the locations. We have people doing rental arbitrage as well as, buying homes before they get started. We talk through all of it. Again, with my real estate knowledge, we teach how to acquire the property. Let's build something that matters together. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.